What's up guys, SkyKevin here, and today we're going over the current state of Last Oasis as of March 2021. We'll talk about some of the future changes, the Xbox release which has now been announced for March 26th, and everything you need to know about the current meta and where things are at for the game as we get into Season 3. So, let's get started. To start, looking at the player stats, they sit at a peak of around 500 players as of making this video, and 250 during the off hours of the day. To describe the player base at the moment, I think many of them are currently waiting for the new content update to finally release before they make a return. My assumption is that the next season of LO could have over 10,000 players, given the massive amount of Xbox users that will be joining the game, as well as the 5,000 plus returning players that we saw from the last wipe. Let's start by talking about the current state of the game. Most players that I know usually don't have any goals in mind for progression. They've already unlocked all the walkers they need, have storage full of any kind of resource, and although the trade update back in November was a fantastic addition to the game, they have plenty of slots and nothing to spend them on, since the only gold sink in the game right now are usually proxy walkers, fiery concoctions, and the occasional auction, which runs every 12 hours per tile. I think this, along with the fact that there really hasn't been any large content additions since the commerce update, is likely the reason player numbers have dropped so sufficiently. There has been a lot of speculation about the content of this next update. Donkey Crew has kept things mostly under wraps leading up to it, and very few hints have been given out as to what is being added to the game for the update. From what I've heard so far, we know that there will be another Rubu type in the game, another full map type to do with some sand craters, and some new items and equipment. If you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know I also have an extremely strong suspicion that the giant sandworms are finally going to be added to the game as well, especially with the new worm sand item that was recently added to the trading post with no mention of it in any of the previous updates. In the description, it says it appears in areas with giant sandworms, so there will likely be some kind of event map for this. As an aside, there are also a few other questions I've been having about worm sand. How exactly do you get it? Is it something that drops from dead sandworms? Or is it something you loot from some kind of nest? Or perhaps it's something that you get from placing an excavator down in that area and then protecting it while it harvests. Another question I have is its description stating that it affects living and mechanical creatures and the energy inside them, which to me means that it might be used as some kind of fuel for walkers and potions and anything else that it might need some kind of premium resource to run. My assumption would be that these will be event maps that players will have to venture out to and defeat the sandworms that spawn while an excavator is running. We've seen Occams climb tall buildings and rocks before, so my guess is the devs would want to do this to allow some kind of leash range in an area around the excavator to make them act as a threat, but avoid any kind of possible buggy crashes or behavior. This also gives enemy nomads, of course, a set point of attack as well. We don't really know what else is going to be in the update, but since I've seen some new weapon types, we're likely going to see a whole new set of resources and possibly some future tech like advanced stomping stations added to the game. Like I said already, there really hasn't been much of a content update since the last wipe of the game, so players should expect this one to be pretty huge. If you are a new player trying Last Oasis out for the first time or considering buying it, I highly suggest you give it a shot because it's a great game that has a ton of depth to it. And if you have any questions, check out some of my other videos and guides on some of the fundamentals of the game. There's plenty of hard to answer questions that I've covered, and if you want to see more videos like this one on LO or other MMOs, don't forget to subscribe to see more in the future. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.